Dear Antje, sincere thanks for those very warm, inspiring, and I think team-building words for the UN system, but also for all of us here tonight. So thank you very much. Dear Excellency Mr. Baisalov, dear Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Mologaziev, dear UN Resident Coordinator, dear Excellencies, ambassadors, distinguished officials, and dear partners, friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is really my profound pleasure and privilege to welcome you here tonight on behalf of the United Nations Development Programme to a celebration of 30 years of development cooperation in the Kyrgyz Republic. I want to thank you, first of all, for being here with us tonight to celebrate, for being true friends of the UN and highly valued partners of UNDP. Your presence symbolizes the dignified and constructive cooperation between UNDP and the Kyrgyz Republic for many years. And for this, we're very deeply grateful. I do have one very tragic piece of news to announce and an apology. And that is, at this point, we had hoped to show you a documentary video with footage gathered from interviews with many of you. We have been working on this for the past 6 months, and it's an amazing expose over the results we have achieved, that Kyrgyzstan has achieved with UNDP support. But for technical reasons, somehow this is not possible. And this is very sad, because you would have recognized many of the people in this film and heard many of the stories. Now, the good news is that it's a much shorter distance between now and the refreshments at the end of this short showing. So instead, I count on you all to help each other share stories during drinks and light refreshments later on how you have worked with UNDP. What are your memories and cooperation of UNDP over these 30 years? I want to thank especially, of course, the government for strong cooperation over the years. And of course, in the organization of today's event, especially the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Culture, and the director and staff of the Opera and Ballet Theatre. Thank you also to the artistic leaders and performers that you will see on stage tonight. And indeed, we are devoting the evening's theme to the celebration of development progress in the Kyrgyzstan, development issues, but also development cooperation, which for many partners started in the year of 1992. And indeed, on the 14th of September, 30 years ago, the government of the newly formed Kyrgyz Republic and UNDP signed an agreement to commence cooperation. Since then, UNDP has implemented more than 200 projects amounting to more than $430 million in grant funding. Some of the results of our work would have been reflected in the film, but we will have to share that with you on another occasion, and I hope that we can at least share it with you online after this event. Now, this remarkable 30-year period has seen Kyrgyzstan transition into a modern lower middle-income country and to launch many reforms. And we commemorate tonight the escape by many vulnerable people from poverty, the empowerment and enhanced status of women, and the improved access to vital public services for citizens. And because we know that many people are still deprived, we also commit to redouble all our efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's world, partnership, collaboration, and co-creation are increasingly essential to deliver results. And dear Resident Coordinator, dear UN country team colleagues, together we accompany Kyrgyzstan on this development path, and we work for the Kyrgyz Republic's successful participation in the global community and for the advancement of its people. Dear members of civil society and members of the media, the importance of your role in articulating this country's narrative, in service delivery, and in communicating openly and to a wider public on matters of development and human rights, that cannot be overstated. We understand the need for us as development partners to sustain the conditions for your work to be successful and to integrate the contributions that various stakeholders make. To our dear development partners, or donors, as many people say, UNDP continues to enjoy very strong partnerships with many of you, and we greatly value our successful cooperation, including also on technical matters. To the countries that support UNDP financially at core and who support global initiatives like the Climate Promise and UNDP's Global Governance and Rule of Law program, please know that such support has enabled UNDP to be agile and to quickly help the country's climate action and to accelerate things like justice sector reform, just to name a couple. Thanks to those core funds, UNDP can support development with a focus on the country's national plans, and that reinforces the impartiality of the UN at country level. And let me mention that UNDP, along with sister UN agencies, we play a critical role in the country's access to finance for environment, climate, and health as a key programming entity for the vertical funds, in particular, but not limited to the Global Fund for HIV, TB, and malaria, the Global Environment Facility, and the Green Climate Fund. Our cooperation with nationally designed authorities, and several of you I have met already here tonight, that remains simply outstanding. All UNDP staff and I, and of course all the previous incarnations of management and staff, we feel privileged to have made a contribution to the development of this beloved country. What unites the staff working for the United Nations, and I think this applies to all UN staff, not just UNDP, and it applies to national and international staff alike, is the spirit and the desire to improve people's lives, to nurture growth and prosperity, and to strive for a better tomorrow. And so tonight, therefore, that's a celebration also of our staff members' work and of their dedication. Ultimately, the results of development belong to the Kyrgyz nation, to the people, and to the government as well. The leadership of government officials at all levels, of entrepreneurs, of civil society activists, of academia and others, that's what makes development possible. It is your vision and your determination that drives this country forward. Ladies and gentlemen, UNDP advocates for human development, which is a process to enlarge people's choice. In tonight's performance, you will recognize these aspirations for freedom, for equality, for acceptance, and inclusion. And this is the central transformative promise of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, to in fact leave no one behind, and it is the very essence of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, which is also called humanity's blueprint for a sustainable and just future. When the UNDP, as we know it now, was established in 1966, it was already then recognized that development by definition is a multidimensional undertaking. And in fact, with the world now changing at an ever-increasing speed, with the onset of new technologies and the need for system-wide approaches to achieve progress, the level of complexity that countries have to deal with is daunting and has grown exponentially in recent years. So against that backdrop, the Sustainable Development Goals can be considered kind of an integrated roadmap for countries to achieve development of its people, with prosperity, planet, and partnership and peace all in balance. And UNDP of today helps countries develop policies to expand leadership and partnership and to develop institutional capabilities together with national partners. But we also aim to innovate, to disrupt, and to experiment, to transform development, and to find new and more effective approaches than before. In today's uncertain world, fraught with multiple crises, we must work harder to prevent people falling back into poverty. We must continue to strengthen the capacity of institutions to ensure fundamental freedoms and protect human rights. And we must do more to fight inequality and discrimination. Today, UNDP is known for its role in generating solutions to complex development challenges at system-wide level, supporting structural reforms, and building resilience. In closing, I want to once again express our appreciation for our collective efforts in the quest for Kyrgyzstan to meet the SDGs. My colleagues and I hope that you will enjoy this evening with some reflections on the road that we have traveled and the road that is still ahead. I wish you all good health, happiness, and prosperity. And once again, thank you. Rahmat.